The Time Chamber. The monster Cell, Dr. Giroux's ultimate creation, has but a single goal. Only through the absorption of androids 17 and 18 can Cell become complete and achieve his perfect form. And now, the monster is one step closer to achieving that goal. He sweeps Piccolo aside and attacks Android 17. Unable to resist, the android is absorbed, and Cell's body begins its shocking transformation. Before Cell can set his sights on Android 18 and complete his transformation, Tien bursts onto the scene. Summoning every ounce of his strength, he holds the monster at bay with his powerful tri-beam technique, giving Android 18 a chance to escape. Meanwhile, Trunks and Vegeta are hard at work within the Hyperbolic Time Chamber, a special room in Kami's Lookout in which a fighter can gain a year's worth of training in just one day.
As the game said, all we have to do for this stage is successfully complete more combos than Vegeta. It's easier said than done because Vegeta will dodge out of the way and even use combo breakers on us. However, he doesn't do it with such frequency that the level becomes irritating, thankfully. This is an interesting minigame, and one interesting thing about it is that it actually becomes more difficult the more combos you have. Because of course it determines how complicated the combo you'll have to perform is. Granted, it's not difficult no matter what combos you have, but still. Also, sometimes the game will ask you to perform a block breaker at the end of one of your combos, which is something I didn't notice as a kid. Probably because I didn't even have any combos. Yeah, if I recall correctly, even the block breaker is something you have to buy.
Tien holds out against Cell for as long as he can, but at last, his strength fails him. But before Cell can reciprocate in kind, Goku suddenly appears on the scene. Using his instant transmission technique, he transports Tien and Piccolo back to the lookout for a quick recovery. At the same time, their year's worth of training completed, Trunks and Vegeta emerge from the Hyperbolic Time Chamber, more powerful than ever. Imperfect Cell. Cell's frustration grows as his search for Android 18 proves fruitless. He has traced the android to a chain of deserted islands, and he begins destroying the islands one by one in an attempt to flush her from hiding. But before he can close in on his target, Vegeta and Trunks arrive on the scene, eager to put their training in the Hyperbolic Time Chamber to the test.
You don't even have a chance!
Hello everyone and welcome back to the Vegeta Show starring Vegeta. This time we are fighting Imperfect Cell, or Semi-Perfect Cell depending on who you ask. And Semi-Perfect Cell has a giant fucking health bar. Fortunately for us, we don't have to take it all the way down, we just have to perform 2 or 3 combos on him and then he flees. I assume in-universe this is because he thinks he can't handle Vegeta. But I would be willing to bet that he could, because look at how long it was taking to deal damage. Well, that is, if he attacked with decent frequency and his attacks actually dealt damage. Okay, so maybe he couldn't handle us, but he still had a big health bar. So it's time to make fun of the enemy placement, because for some reason there are Cybermen in the Cell Saga. I was going to say these are the standard enemies for the entire saga, but this is the only beat-em-up level. After this level, there's another Hyperbolic Time Chamber, and then there's a minigame, and then we fight Cell. This is the only straightforward beat-em-up level that the Cell Saga offers. For some reason that Cyberman was stuck in the air, but let's just ignore that. Cell also shows up here for half a second to shoot us in the back of the head and then flies away immediately. It looks hilarious, and the best part is that it was intentional. So was that stumble animation. Like they couldn't find an enemy type for the Cell Saga, or they completely ran out of time and budget. But as you'll see later, the Cell Juniors were a thing that they had time to program, but they didn't use them as normal enemies for the Cell Saga for whatever reason. You could counter that by saying that Cell Juniors didn't exist until Perfect Cell, which fine, if you want to assume for some reason they have this weird line of fidelity they're not willing to cross. Then why didn't they just have more androids? Yes, it's true that the variety would suffer, but variety is not exactly this game's strong point, and the androids would have actually made sense. Something just feels so surreal and desperate about the return of Cybermen in the final saga. The funniest part to me by far is that the environment here actually looks pretty nice and the enemy placement isn't all that bad. Yes, it would still be better if the enemies dealt significant damage or attacked more frequently, but they deal more damage here than they have anywhere else, even though that's not saying much. We are playing on hard mode right now, so the fact that the enemies are just now starting to deal kind of significant damage in the final saga is not... that doesn't say good things about the game design. There is at least one big surprise that occurs in this saga, and I think that makes the entire saga worth it, honestly. Yes, a bigger surprise than there being Cybermen. You know, it occurs to me, if nothing else, this game might be an accurate simulation of playing with Dragon Ball Z action figures. Especially this part, you know, where you're fighting Cybermen alongside Cell. I mean, they're your action figures, who's gonna stop you? You could do worse as far as emulating action figure brawling goes. Like, Disney Infinity 2's campaign is so average that it's actually painful, this game has the courtesy to be interesting and weird. You could also do a lot better, though. For example, Gotcha Force exists, and Gotcha Force is the most Saturday morning anime thing to ever happen. I was going to say earlier that this particular part of the Cell Saga in the game reminded me of Innocence, but I couldn't place why, so I decided to drop the thought. It now occurs to me it might be because, as a kid, I didn't even consider that the Cybermen shouldn't be here. I didn't think this game was dumb or weird for it or anything. I just kept playing. Man, kids are stupid. So back to beating the stuffing out of the boss. Semi-Perfect Cell still has a whole lot of health, like way too much. But just like last time, we don't need to decrease it completely, we only have to get it down a certain amount and then he runs away again. Fortunately for us, we have our Super Saiyan form ready this time, so it won't take nearly as long. But unfortunately, wasting our Super Saiyan form right here was a really stupid idea. You'll see what I mean shortly. There is another brief beat-em-up segment after this, but it's not nearly long enough to refill our Super Saiyan meter. I mean, the last beat-em-up segment was decently long, and we just filled it up as soon as we got here. You know, when the enemies fly away like that, that's the least dramatic way I could imagine to frame those shots. The camera doesn't follow them or anything. I think there's only the one more wave of enemies here, and we managed to make really quick work of it, not just because of our Super Saiyan form. Mostly because of our Super Saiyan form. I do think it's kind of nice that the animation for the Gallic Gun changes depending on whether you're powered up. It's kind of humorous that they bothered to spawn so many big enemies here. Like, was this meant to be some huge challenge since it's the last beat-em-up segment? Because even if we had to fight all those big enemies one at a time the slow way, it still wouldn't be hard.
As the battle continues, Cell soon realizes he is outmatched by the father-son Super Saiyan duo. But in a crafty move, he temporarily blinds Trunks and Vegeta, then swoops down to absorb Android 18. His goal finally realized, the monster undergoes his final transformation and becomes Perfect Cell.
You're nothing! I'll crush you!
Alright everyone, this is it. The big surprise, the most difficult battle in all of Dragon Ball Z sagas. Perfect Cell has way too much health, just like Semi-Perfect Cell, except it's even larger. He also moves around a lot more than any of the previous bosses, breaks your combos constantly, and actually kinda deals a lot of damage. I know, I'm surprised. But I'm not even joking this time. You might look at my previous examples of damage and be like, oh, so what, he's gonna take out a quarter of our health with the whole combo? No, his combos absolutely peel your health away. He's serious business. It only takes 2 or 3 full combos from him and then that's it, lights out, you're done. Unfortunately, he also has this habit of using secondary attacks that do nothing to us, like throws and roundhouse kicks, like this. But trust me, you'll get to see his power. This wasn't a gradual difficulty curve either, and that just makes it even weirder. Like, none of the other boss battles even come close to dealing as much damage as Perfect Cell does in this fight. Not even close. So it skips straight from easy as cake to holy shit, where did my health go? And this is the game that I would least expect that from. This is also where you get to see Cell combo break me 3 times in a row. But yeah, they clearly made an effort to make this version of Perfect Cell so much harder than any of the other bosses in the game. And I hear you asking, well, when is he actually going to start dealing damage? Right about now. Yeah, holy shit. We've dealt like, what, 1/10, 1/15 of his health bar in damage, and we just now got Super Saiyan form, and our health is bad. It is in bad shape. Even after we turn Super Saiyan, the damage we deal is still so small. So there you go, you've done it. We found the challenge in Dragon Ball Z Sagas. You just have to play on hard mode and fight this one specific boss. Now let's ask the big questions. Would I have enjoyed the game more if the entire game was like this? Probably, but would that make it a better game? No, absolutely not. That's not to say the game couldn't be made better with more focus on damage balancing, but this tipped the scale so far in the other direction that it's comical. For example, we're not dealing nearly as much damage to Cell as we should be. If someone went through and gradually adjusted the difficulty curve, then I could see this actually being a lot better, game design-wise. It would still be hard to appreciate past all its other flaws, but at least I could talk about actual strategy in the game, and I could praise it for having a good connection with players, for having a good sense of what the right difficulty is. But that's in another universe, not this one. And even in that universe, where the difficulty curve is perfectly balanced, the game would still be fundamentally broken on so many other levels. I can't say I'm not proud of them for trying, though. I have no idea how this happened, but I'm proud of them for trying.
Trunks and Vegeta resume the battle, but they are powerless to defeat Perfect Cell. Clearly amused by their efforts, Cell allows them to live. He challenges them, along with all of the Earth's most powerful fighters, to take part in a martial arts tournament. The Z-Warriors have no choice but to agree. Now, they have just 1 week to train before the fate of the Earth is decided in the Cell Games. Super Saiyan Gohan. Goku and Gohan enter the hyperbolic time chamber in preparation for the Cell Games. Goku has a plan for victory, but first he must teach his son to harness the incredible powers hidden within him. Gohan must become a Super Saiyan.
You know, I'd considered the idea of if I would use the hyperbolic time chamber to record videos, and I think I would. What are the downsides to that, really? I would have too many videos and I couldn't publish them all at once? That's not a bad thing. I mean, I'd probably need to drag other people with me into the hyperbolic time chamber. I'm not going in there by myself, especially if there's no internet connection, you know, screw that. Anyway, this time chamber minigame exactly the same as the first one, in case you couldn't tell. We do have to perform more combos this time, but that's about the only difference. I do think it's a little bit funny that Gohan has a Super Saiyan meter in here, implying that if we wasted enough time not performing the proper combos, we could eventually turn Super Saiyan, but to no benefit because Goku's health bar doesn't decrease.
Goku and Gohan emerge from the hyperbolic time chamber and decide to use the remaining time before the Cell Games for a little rest and relaxation.
Right.
The Cell Games. At last, the day arrives, and the Earth's strongest warriors converge on the Cell Games arena. Goku is the first to challenge the monster, and after an impressive display of fighting prowess, he surprises everyone by forfeiting the match. Goku bows out, conceding that he is not strong enough to defeat Cell, but he offers up an even stronger fighter to take his place, Gohan. Goku believes that if Gohan's anger is provoked, he will release his true hidden potential and defeat Cell. Cell is eager for the challenge. In an attempt to fuel Gohan's rage, he releases an army of Cell Juniors and orders them to attack the rest of the Z Warriors.
I'm gonna make something clear right away. I turned the game on easy mode for this fight because I hate this so much. All of the Cell Juniors have to be down at the same time, and they get themselves back up really quickly. Hard mode, it's nearly impossible. Normal mode, it takes too long and is frustrating. I don't care to admit that I turned the difficulty down for this one. It's not fun. The difficulty will of course go back up for the ensuing final battle. I'm also not happy that Cell is just standing there in the middle of the ring mocking us like a jerk. Where's Gohan? Gohan should be in the ring right now. But yeah, if you could imagine doing this exact thing, except they have 3 times as much health and they can break out of your largest combo and they block all the time, then you've got what it's like to play this on hard mode.
The Z Warriors struggle to survive the vicious attacks of the Cell Juniors. Android 16 attempts to subdue Cell in a desperate move to end the violence. The monster Cell, however, is not easily subdued, and with a single devastating blow, he reduces Android 16 to scrap metal. Upon witnessing the peace-loving android's untimely demise, Gohan's rage is at last ignited, much to Cell's delight. The final showdown. After witnessing the destruction of Android 16, Gohan's rage ignites, and in an explosion of raw power, he ascends to a new height of Super Saiyan strength. In this anger-fueled state, Gohan obliterates the army of Cell Juniors, then sets his sights on their cruel master, Perfect Cell.
I will rule the universe.
You can't beat me!
I will say immediately, this is a reasonably decent idea for this game. We are already Super Saiyan 1, but we have to get our Super Saiyan meter up yet further to attain Super Saiyan 2. Of course, our Super Saiyan meter steadily decreases just like it does every other time. This means we have to attack Cell constantly or else it decreases and we're back to where we started. And it does decrease really quickly. The best way I've found to do this is to use the shortest combos possible. The longer combos may fill up your meter slightly more, but not enough to be worth it, and he has a less high chance of breaking out of the smaller ones. As a side note, this is my favorite music in the game, so now that you know how to win, maybe I'll just let you enjoy it.
bombards Cell with a series of punishing blows. His final punch so powerful that it causes the monster to spit out the absorbed Android 18. No longer complete, Cell's body returns to its previous state, and with the resulting loss of power, his defeat seems certain. Rather than be defeated by a child, Cell chooses to blow himself up, and the Earth along with him. With mere seconds left to act before the fiery explosion, Goku transports himself and Cell to King Kai's planet, once again sacrificing his life to save his friends. The battle with Cell is not yet over, however. A single cell of the monster's body survives the blast, from which he is able to regenerate, once again attaining his perfect form. Cell returns to Earth to finish the battle with Gohan, locked in the final showdown.
Gohan, you've got to use the Kamehameha to defeat Perfect Cell.
Gohan summons the last of his strength, and with a helpful push from his father in Otherworld, his Kamehameha wave overwhelms Cell. When the smoke clears, Perfect Cell is no more, and a new era of peace on Earth has begun.
Ultimate Tenkaichi, Tenkaichi 2, Infinite World Sagas. Maybe that's enough Dragon Ball Z for now.